Waiting.
Lamar comes to visit me the week after I lose the bail hearing. We sit in the visitor's room, with the scratched plexiglass partition between us, speaking through the handsets like a sad, twisted version of kids playing telephone. "How are you doing?" he asks me, concern clear on his face. I can't think how I must look to him, with my unwashed hair and baggy orange jumpsuit. I won't tell him the truth, about the unbearable wretchedness echoing through every minute of my days, so I don't even try.
Okay, I guess. I'm glad he's here, but surprised, too.
I've been expecting Chelsea, even Mel. But Lamar has always been the solid one, quiet and true in his way. Don't tell me they've got you running laps in the yard, and working sewing footballs or something. He's trying to sound casual, like we're hanging out in a coffee shop or on the front lawn at school, and not in a prison block with 2 armed guards keeping watch over our every move. I manage a weak smile for him. Nope, just sitting around, waiting. Same here, he jokes, but his body is folded tensely onto the cheap plastic chair. My mom's already on me to do something constructive with my time. A project. You mean what I did on spring break essay? I quip, but my words are hollow. You should have deferred college for a year. You could write a killer application essay now. Right, Lamar agrees. Killer. The word sits between us. My stomach drops. I didn't mean. I know. It's okay. He looks away, his dark eyes darting nervously around the long room. There are 2 other visitors, a burly tattooed guy, murmuring through the handset, and a cluster of young kids, climbing over their grandmother and pressing their palms to the divider as their mother weeps on my side of the screen. The scene is depressing and bleak, and I wish with everything I am to be anywhere but here. Thank you, I say quietly, trying to keep my voice from breaking. For coming. I know you didn't have to, and you're the only one who's been. Lamar looks away. The others wanted to, he says quickly, but you know what our parents are like. And with the prison. Quote. I know. But they send their best. We're all thinking about you. I nod. Maybe it's true. I want to believe him, but I've had too much time in here, long, empty days to think about my friends, and all the reasons why they haven't come, haven't even sent letters, or called, even though I made sure my dad told them about the visiting hours and phone privileges. I'm angry at them for it, hurt, too, but every time I try to muster some kind of sense of betrayal, I can't help but wonder, would I be any different, if the roles were reversed? Lamar looks at me again, closer. You are okay? I mean, you would tell me, if they did. If there was trouble, with any of the other girls in there. I promise, I tell him. It's no sleepover, but it's not like a prison movie or anything. The guards keep a pretty close watch on me. I guess I'm high profile or something.
I give him a wry smile. Mostly the other girls just leave me alone. Good. Lamar's dark eyes are wide and expressive. It'll be okay, he says again, pressing him palm against the glass. Just hang in there. I know I should smile and banter, pretend like I'm keeping my spirits up, but the truth is, I've been in a daze ever since the judge made her announcement, the words echoing in my head, so icy and detached. The defendant is a flight risk, charged with a violent crime of the highest degree. ... Dot.
Dad tried to reassure me that the lawyer would be launching another appeal, but something in me seemed to switch off there in the courtroom. I watched in shock as the guard went to release Tate. The handcuffs fell from his wrists, and he turned to embrace his parents, enfolded tight and safe in a circle of celebration while I was hustled out, unseen, through the back door. Away from them all. The drive back to prison blurred to strips of sand and olive and dusty brown through my red, raw eyes. I didn't even flinch when they strip-searched me, standing numb in a white-tiled room as a middle-aged female guard patted my body down, avoiding my gaze. I don't know what she expected to find, as if I'd managed to duck away from my constant supervision in the crowded courtroom to slip something in my bra. Pills, a razor blade. I can't imagine it, but I've only been locked up here 4 weeks. Some of the women in my wing have been stuck in here for years. Years. The thought of it is too much, like staring straight into the sun, blotting out everything with sheer panic. So I don't. Every time it creeps into my mind, I look away and remind myself of everything my dad and the lawyers said. That this is all a big mistake. That it's a witch hunt, a prosecutor gone crazy. That soon the charges would be dropped, and we could go home. I lie awake in the small, hot cell at night and repeat their words over and over again, wrapping myself in them like a security blanket on the hard, narrow bunk. But still, in the long dark of the night, surrounded by other people's breathing and my own crushing fear, I can't stop the first seeds of doubt from creeping in. What if they're wrong?
Just stay positive, Lamar tells me, as if my secret fear is written plain across my face. This will all be over soon.
I take a breath. Have you seen him? Lamar doesn't need to ask who. He nods. We went over, after he made bail. They're in a house over by the far point, this big gated place on the beach. How is he? My voice twists. Did he say anything? Did he ask about me? Lamar looks uncomfortable. We weren't there for long. He didn't really want to talk. He was having panic attacks, he adds, in prison, so they put him on a bunch of meds. He was pretty out of it. I exhale slowly. So he didn't say anything about me. Lamar shakes his head. I'm sorry. He's not the one who should be sorry. Anger flares in me, as fierce as my fear, and just as deadly. It's fine. I swallow it back. I'm sure he'd come if he could. The lawyers are probably keeping him away, and his parents. I force another smile. Like you said, I'll be out of here soon, and then we'll all go back to Boston, and everything will be okay. Lamar shifts in his seat. That's the thing I wanted to tell you. He pauses, his voice heavy and reluctant. We're going home. I stare. The police said they don't need us anymore, he says, stumbling over the words. And with school starting, and our parents. No, I get it. I push down the ache blossoming in my chest. Right, of course. You can't stay sitting around on the beach all day. I fake another smile. When do you leave? Tomorrow. Oh. But I can call, and write, or whatever. He adds, until this all gets cleared up. Right. Sure. There's silence as his words sink in, heavy and dark. Home. I never felt much for the word before. I didn't get homesick the summer I spent camp, or feel the same sense of security and place other kids seem to. For me, home was just a house we lived in, a place my parents picked, and decorated, and filled with the noise of endless renovations and upgrades to the things we didn't need but somehow were necessary now that we were rich. In-room surround sound. Underfloor heating. New skylights, glittering across the back of the house. When they were both there, it was bad enough for me, closed doors, and rooms I wasn't welcome in, but this past year, it was worse, a silent fortress I could never bring to life, not even with music playing through those brand new speakers in every room. I spent all my time at Elise's, in the end. Even Tate's disapproving parents were better than the emptiness of my own echoing hallways. But now, I ache for that house and all its dark memories with a fervor I didn't know I could possess. Tomorrow, a plane is taking off, and I won't be on it. Do me a favor? I ask, glancing at the clock on the wall. Time's nearly up. Keep an eye on him for me. I mean, you guys can talk, and I. I just want to know how he's doing. Something flickers across Lamar's face. He pauses for a moment, then leans closer. Are you sure? I blink. About what? Tate. Lamar pauses again, and I can see him weighing the words before he speaks. You were really with him, all day? Yes, I insist. We said, like, 1,000,000 times. I know that. But, I know you'd do anything to protect him. Lamar's eyes are watching me, careful. I don't say anything, and that must be enough, because he exhales sadly. Anna. Don't. I stop him, glancing around. We'll be fine. This is all going to be over soon. Are you sure? Lamar drums his fingertips nervously. Because I've been thinking about the way he was with Elise. I always wondered. Quote.
He stops.
I feel a shiver of unease. What?
It's nothing. He looks away. Just be careful, that's all. His family is loaded, you know they'll do whatever it takes to get him back home.
And that's a good thing, I tell him as the buzzer sounds the end of visiting hours. We have the best lawyers, I add quickly. They're working round the clock. Everything's going to be okay. A guard's voice interrupts us, bored. Everybody out. Lamar rises from his seat. Take care of yourself, he tells me softly, pressing his hand to the glass. I mirror it, matched but not touching, the closest thing to human contact I've had in days. I will. I'll be fine, I promise. My voice wavers, but he's already gone. The first night. This is Nicholas. Elise presents him like a game show host displaying her prize. His dad owns, like, half the island. We're outside the bar in the cool 2 a.m. breeze, the music muffled and fading as we gather on the dusty street. Nicholas is the guy from the VIP booth. The one Elise set her sights on, blonde hair artfully mussed over ice blue eyes, dressed in a preppy Oxford shirt and jeans with an expensive watch on his wrist. He lights a cigarette for her with a silver block lighter, nodding a vague greeting to the rest of us. Where to next? Chelsea asks, yawning. I'm tired. Mel holds onto her for balance, easing off one heel to massage her foot. Let's just head home. Baby, Elise's voice is only half teasing, the night is young. She smiles flirtatiously up at Nicholas. What do you say, where's a good place for an after party?
He shrugs. Depends. I could show you. Quote. I'm sure you could.
Elise laughs and leans in closer to him, exhaling her cigarette smoke away in a long plume. She murmurs something in Nicholas's ear and he smirks, taking the cigarette from between her fingers to suck down a drag of his own, his other hand drifting from her waist to rest on the curve of her ass. It's fast work, but I'm not surprised. Elise has seduction down to an art. After we started frequenting the bars and clubs with all the college boys, she woke up to her power, we both did. High school is a weird puritanical world of rules and standards, where your reputation matters way more than a sweaty, backroom kiss, where every slight and so-called indiscretion gets tallied and tracked. But outside those walls, we discovered the rules are different. Better. I could kiss a boy, breathless against the back wall of some club, and then just walk away, not even knowing his name. Or, like Elise, do more. Do whatever we wanted. No rules, no judging stares, or whispers come Monday morning. It's just about us, and the low pull in our gut, the shiver in our bloodstream. Desire. Elise meets my eyes with a lazy smile, Nicholas tracing idle circles on her half-naked back. I smile.
Mel is scowling suspiciously at him, but I understand, every anonymous boy, every late-night touch.
I would do it too, if I didn't have Tate. And why not? We want, we take, we have. It's simple. The guys stumble out of the club behind us, Max already blurry-eyed and flushed. AK has a lipstick mark on his cheek, bright pink. I laugh, reaching over to wipe it off. What can I say? AK grins. I'm irresistible. Sure you are, I agree, linking my arm through his. Or maybe it was those free drinks you kept offering. A guy's got to work with what he's got. We start wandering back down the street toward the beach house. I meander slowly between the guys, but Elise and Nicholas hang back. I'll see you guys later, Elise calls, Nicholas's arm draped around her shoulder. We stop. You're leaving? Mel's eyes widen. But Elise. Nick's going to give me a tour of the island. Elise grins suggestively. He knows a great Thai spot. See you later. I raise my hand to wave goodbye, but Tate speaks up. I could get some food. He looks around for agreement. Guys? Fuck yeah.
Lamar nods. Max murmurs something, slurring. Elise gives me an exasperated look, but I just shrug. I'm kind of hungry too, I say, an apologetic note in my voice.
Fine, Elise sighs. Group trip. Yay. We meander through the town center, still bright and full of activity. The bars spill tourists out onto the street, pop music and cheesy reggae drifting in snatches as we pass. The air is full of celebration, and even though we're all tired, we feel it too. Lamar pulling Chelsea in to dance to a familiar song, Mel and Elise singing along until we reach the takeout spot Nicholas mentioned. It's just a run-down shack on the beachfront, but the scent of ginger and hot chilies drifts in the air, and the benches out front are packed with locals. So what do you do? Mel quizzes Nicholas as we order a feast of pad thai and noodles. Do? He gives her an arrogant smile. I mean, are you in school? Mel presses. Do you have a job? Mel. Elise protests. What? I'm just asking. Nicholas shrugs. My father has several businesses. His accent is American, but edged with that lilting Dutch tone. Real estate, import-export. I help out sometimes. Elise laughs. Admit it, she says, teasing, you just sit around on the beach all day and party all night. Nicholas stares at her a moment, his eyes cool. Then his lips crease into a grin. You got me, he agrees. And what's so wrong with that? Absolutely nothing, my friend. AK slaps him on the back, sloppy. Fucking paradise, you've got here. And you? Nicholas asks, turning to include me and Elise in the question. What do you do? Go to school? Do your homework? His voice is laced with amusement. Are you good girls? What do you think? Elise flirts back with a wicked grin. I think you like trouble. Nicholas reaches out, tracing his index finger down the side of her face, her neck, along her collarbone. Elise doesn't flinch. Promises, promises, she coos. The look in her eyes is so intimate, I turn away. We claim our food in styrofoam cartons and plastic bags and begin walking back along the beach. I slip off my shoes and sink my toes into the cool sand, listening to the distant rhythm of the waves.
My buzz has faded now to a sleepy satisfaction, and I snuggle against Tate, yawning. The ocean is an inky black shadow to our left, with the lights of the hotels and beach houses stringed together in a line of glittering neon, snaking out around the bay. I don't like him.
Tate's voice startles me from my reverie. I pause for a moment, then look ahead to where Nicholas and Elise are a dark shadow, indistinguishable in the dim light. He seems fine to me. He's into her. He's an asshole, Tate replies, curt. I laugh. Maybe. But that's her type, right? Tate doesn't reply for a minute, but I can feel him, tense beneath his thin shirt. She can't keep doing this, he says at last. What? Picking up strange guys. Tate doesn't let it drop. It's not safe. Come on. I sigh. She does it all the time. Right. He doesn't sound placated. And it's bad enough back home, when one of us is around, but this is just stupid. She was going to just go off with him? He could be dangerous. Sure, he's a real criminal. I laugh. Come on, Tate. I told you, Elise can take care of herself. And she's not going off on her own, I add. We're all going back to the house. Tate kicks the sand. I guess. I snuggle closer to him, slipping my hand into his back pocket. My fingers brush against something cool and metallic. What's this? I pull it out. My necklace. Oh, yeah, I found it in my bag, Tate replies. Like you said. I smile, leaning up to kiss him. Thanks, baby. There's the sound of laughter ahead of us. His eyes flick past me, still tense. Nicholas. I sigh. It's cute you're looking out for her, I tell him. But Elise does her own thing, you know that. I still don't like him. Tate's voice is petulant. I know. And if he turns out to be an ass, you guys can kick him out. She'll be right down the hall, I reassure him. Nothing bad's going to happen there. Now. You see it now. It's obvious. You're probably wondering how I could have been so blind. But I was. It's not like it was all laid out for me, so clinical and neat. I loved them. I trusted them. It never crossed my mind, not even for a moment. Why would it? We were happy, all of us. We were family. Even now, I go back over every memory, tearing them apart any way I can, trying to see the truth beneath the fabric of all of their lies. Still, I come up with nothing. There was no reason for it, that's what burns and blazes and aches, filling my days with sick confusion and my nights with restless questions. No fucking reason for them to break everything we had, to just shatter it as if it meant nothing. As if I meant nothing to them. Maybe it would be different, if I thought for one moment that she really loved him, maybe I could understand. If Tate and I were fighting, bored, unhappy.
Something, anything, to explain why they could do this to me. To us. But Tate. He won't say a word.
And Elise took her reasons to the grave. So I don't get my answers. I guess I'll never know. Evidence, text message records. Elise Warren, phone number 212-555-0173. From, Anna. Time, 9:17 a.m. You want eggs? From, Anna. Time, 9:22 a.m. Hey sleepy. Wake TF up. From, Mel. Time, 9:25 a.m. You coming? We leave in 10. From, Chelsea. Time, 9:30 a.m. You went hard last night. Come dive. From, Anna. Time, 9:45 a.m. God, you sleep through anything. We're staying too. Come meet us on the beach. From, Mel. Time, 9:50 a.m. Are you mad? TXT back. From, Mel. Time, 9:55 a.m. Fine, see you when we get back. From, Anna. Time, 11:22 a.m. Down by the cafe, look for the red towel. From, Tate. Time, 1:10 p.m. Trying to get away, see you at the house. From, Chelsea. Time, 1:47 p.m. Image attached fishes. From, Nicholas. Time, 4:12 p.m. Want to hook up tonight? From, Anna. Time, 6:32 p.m. Guess are out. Call if you wanna grab dinner. From, Mel. Time, 7:51 p.m. On our way back. Did I do something? Talk to me. From, AK. Time, 8:19 p.m. Hey slut, where are you? From, Anna. Time, 8:26 p.m. This isn't funny, we're worried, where are you? Day 52. I know it's important when they come pull me out of breakfast. The routine is carved in stone here, every day the same. Unless you have a court date, visitors wait until the afternoon. No exceptions. So when I'm taken to the interview room and find Ellingham and my dad waiting, pacing in the small, empty space, I feel a shiver of fear. What is it? I go quickly to my dad, forgetting for a moment that I'm not allowed to touch him. He backs away, looking to the guard. I stop. Sorry, I murmur, deflating. It's okay. Dad gives me a tired smile, but it doesn't reach his eyes. You should sit down, Ellingham tells me. I obey, my fear growing. What? What is it? There's been a development. Ellingham takes a seat across the small table. I just got a call from Mr. Dempsey.
They're dropping all charges against Tate. It takes a moment for his words to sink in. My heart leaps.
I knew it. I spring to my feet. Did they find Juan? The officer said they were looking for him. I babble, not waiting for a reply. I knew it would be okay. I feel a sob in my throat as relief blossoms, sweet in my chest. It's sharp and strong, and I have to hug my arms around my body to keep from embracing him. No, that's not it. Ellingham clears his throat, and just like that, my elation wavers, caught on a precipice. But, you said, ... quote. My voice trembles with confusion. They've dropped the charges. That means I can go home, right? I look between them for confirmation, but my dad just glances away. They've ended the investigation into Tate, Ellingham says, his voice reluctant. He's flying home this afternoon. But your murder charge still stands. You'll go to trial as expected in a couple of months. I sink back down onto the hard plastic chair, reeling. I don't understand, I whisper. What happened? My dad finally speaks. Tate cut a deal with the prosecutor. He admitted you lied about your alibis. The disappointed look in his eyes is enough to break my heart. I can explain. I cry. He asked me to. He said they'd suspect him if they knew he went back to the house. I never meant to lie. But why didn't you tell me the truth from the start? My dad looks at me, searching. We could have done something, found a way. I don't know, I say helplessly. He said it would be worse for us, that they'd think we did something wrong.
They do. Ellingham's voice is matter of fact. I pause, trying to process it. Tate told. After all this time, insisting we had to stick together, he turned around and. Why did they drop the charges against him? I ask slowly. If they knew he was at the house with her, wouldn't that make him a suspect?
Ellingham clears his throat again. He looks uncomfortable, as if he wishes he could be anywhere but this small, bleak room under the fluorescent strip lighting. Then I remember, he works for Mr. Dempsey. He was never here for me. Our investigators uncovered security footage from the convenience store near the house, he explains stiffly. It shows Elise out that afternoon, around 3 p.m. I don't get it. I turn to my dad for help. The timeline doesn't fit, Dad tells me gently. She was still alive, after he went back to the house. His alibi still holds, for the new time of death. I shake my head. But why am I still here? I ask them. The only reason I was lying was to protect him. And if they're sure he's innocent. ... Quote. His alibi holds, but yours doesn't, Ellingham tells me. Tate says he took a nap when you were on the beach that afternoon. When he woke up, you were gone. That's at least 40 minutes unaccounted for, maybe more. Plenty of time to go to the house and back. But I was right there. My voice comes out a whisper. I look to my dad again, pleading. I was down by the water. I walked a little, along the shore. I was right there the whole time. Tate says he didn't see you. There's no argument in Ellingham's voice, just plain fact. That's enough for Decker to argue that you had the opportunity and means to kill Elise. And with their affair, he can claim you have motive, as well. Now. You see? How simple it is, how one little piece of information changes everything. How it all just falls into place. Betrayal. Then. I slowly push my seat away from the table. The legs scrape on the tile floor. What are you talking about? I say slowly. Elise and Tate. Ellingham is studying me carefully. They were having an affair. Hooking up, I believe you would call it. No. I shake my head. You're lying. I look around. Decker's watching, he's trying to catch me out. This is some kind of trick. I assure you, it's not. Tate told the police today, my dad says gently. When he came clean about the alibis. No. My voice is a whisper. Apparently they'd been together several months. Ellingham continues, as if he doesn't realize how his words are slicing through me. Or maybe he does and he just doesn't care.
Since January, Tate said. No. My scream cuts through the room. You're lying.
He would never. ... Quote. I catch my breath, ragged.
She would never. There's a long silence, then Ellingham stands. I should go, he says, reaching quickly for his briefcase. Give you time to think things through. But you'll call me later. My dad rises, looking concerned. We need to talk about her defense strategy, now that Tate is out of the picture.
Of course. Ellingham's smile is blank and professional. You have my number.
He sweeps out, the guard closing the door firmly behind him. Dad and I are left alone. I didn't know.
My voice breaks. I swear, I didn't know. I believe you, sweetie. Dad reaches across and takes my hand. The guard looks away, and that's when I know just how desperate my situation is. That a hand held across the table is the only hope I've got. We'll be okay, I promise. But how? The full weight of Ellingham's revelations begins to crush me, so hard I can barely breathe. I look around the tiny room, knowing that outside there's nothing but metal bars and security gates and guards, armed and ready to keep me here, locked forever. My panic takes flight, and I feel it all the way to my bones. It's just me now, I whisper, disbelieving. No, sweetie. Dad clutches my hand tighter, but I shake my head. The tears I've been holding back for weeks finally slip through, a grief so deep I could drown. He left me. I choke on the words and my own, bitter sobs. They both left me here alone. I lay my head on the table and weep. The trial. So you didn't know? Decker's question rings out, taunting and full of scorn. I take a breath, looking for Tate in the courtroom, but he's not here. No. The victim was conducting an affair with your boyfriend for months, right under your nose, and you mean to tell the court you had no clue it was going on? Decker turns to the audience, his face a picture of disbelief. I try to stay calm. There's no jury, my lawyer keeps reminding me, so all of Decker's wide-eyed performing won't mean a thing in the end. The only person who matters, the one with my fate resting in her delicately manicured hands, is the judge, Von Koppel, sitting 6 feet to my left at the central table at the head of the room. I direct my answer to her alone, trying to keep my expression neutral and my voice even and resolute. No. I had no idea, not until he confessed, after he cut a deal with you. Decker quickly interrupts me. Please let the record show, there was no deal, as the defendant implies.
Mr. Dempsey volunteered new information that led to his charges being dropped, that is all. Sorry, I reply. My mistake. It's not.
My lawyer told me to bring it up, to bring up anything that might make Decker look biased, or corrupt, or just plain incompetent. Decker narrows his eyes at me in a fierce glare, but I try to stay calm. I have to score what points I can, they told me over and over again. It may seem petty, like some silly game, but the rest of my life is on the line. If I can throw him off, even a little, it might make all the difference. Also, please note I object to the word confessed, Decker continues, still glaring.
Mr. Dempsey merely cleared up earlier inconsistencies in his testimony to police. Noted. Judge Von Koppel sounds bored. I wonder if that's a good thing or not.
Now, Miss Chevalier, Decker turns on me again, this time with renewed determination. Would you say you're a jealous person? No. You weren't possessive at all, of your relationships with the victim, or Mr. Dempsey. I say it again, calm and collected. No. My hands are folded in my lap, my legs crossed at the ankles. They coached me for hours about how to sit, how to speak, even how to take a sip of water. Not even a little? Decker keeps digging. After all, teenage relationships can be stressful things. A whirlwind of emotions and new feelings. I keep my gaze fixed on him. Not really. It was all pretty simple. Simple. Decker goes over to his table and flips through some paperwork. But what about the incident of the 15th of October? I'm sorry, I pause. I don't know what that is. I look over to my lawyer, but he just shrugs. Then let me refresh your memory. Decker smiles. October 15th, last year. You were involved in an altercation with a classmate, Lindsay Shaw. Lindsay, the queen bitch herself.
My stomach drops. This can't be good. Here's the incident report from the school, Decker continues, and Miss Shaw's sworn statement.
He passes the pages up to the judge before turning back to me. Miss Shaw says that you accosted her, during gym class, and accused her of flirting with Mr. Dempsey. This is what he looks so pleased about? I shake my head. That's not what happened. It was nothing. Nothing? She says you threatened her, physically, and warned her to stay away from him. Decker continues, several witnesses confirm you attacked her, in a violent outburst, armed with a hockey stick. It wasn't like that, I protest. We were playing field hockey, we were on opposing teams. I tackled her, and then she tripped. She tripped? Decker's voice rises. Miss Shaw was taken to the emergency room. She required 6 stitches to a wound on her cheek. I see the look on my lawyer's face. It was an accident, I insist, my voice rising. And I wasn't jealous. She had it out for me, right from the start of school. Ask anyone, she was the one bullying me. So she deserved it? That's not what I'm saying. I try to keep a grip, but Decker keeps badgering me.
So what really happened? You've said yourself, she was bullying you. Yes, but
She flirted with your boyfriend. He doesn't let me finish. She taunted you, publicly, until you just couldn't take it anymore. You attacked her. Objection. My lawyer leaps up. Relevance? This is a schoolyard argument from almost a year ago. I'm establishing the defendant's state of mind under pressure, Decker calls back, and her habit of violent outbursts. Judge Von Koppel pauses. Overruled. Continue. Decker approaches me, but just as I'm bracing myself for more questions about the hockey incident, he gives me a sly smile. Let's leave your attack on Miss Shaw for a moment, and talk about the victim. We've heard from several witnesses that you had an unusually close relationship. I pause, regrouping. He's trying to throw me off balance. I can see that, making sure I'm worked up about the Lindsay thing, so I'm still angry and frustrated when I talk about Elise. But I won't fall for that trick. I take a breath, making sure I'm calm again before answering. We were friends. That's not unusual. But you spent all your time together, to the exclusion of Miss Warren's other friends. That was her choice. I give a little shrug. She just preferred hanging out with me. And that's what you did together, hang out. Decker's got that smug expression again, the one that sends a chill through me. Tell us about it. I look to my lawyer again. I don't understand. What did you do together? Decker asks. How did you spend your time? Usual things, I say carefully. We would go shopping, to cafes, just hang out together, after school. Quote. You went to bars together, Decker adds. Out drinking. And to college parties, with older men. Yes, I admit, but it wasn't just us. We were a group, all year. Chelsea, and Max, and Ack.
Yes, but you preferred to be alone with Miss Warren, didn't you? Decker meets my eyes with that sly look of his. I stare back, trying to figure out his game. No. I mean, we were close, but I liked being with everyone. Decker goes back to his table to rustle some more papers.
In their statements, both Melanie Chong and Chelsea Day, and several of your other friends, said that you and the victim would often sleep over at each other's houses. Yes, I reply slowly. And where did you sleep? He asks. I blink. Excuse me? When you slept over, with Miss Warren.
Decker manages to keep his expression serious, as if he's asking a deeply important legal matter and not just another of his sleazy suggestive questions. You didn't stay in the guest suite, did you? You would always sleep in the same room.
In the same bed, in fact. I look across to my lawyer. Objection. He leaps up obediently. This is completely irrelevant. Yes, Detective Decker. Judge Von Koppel stares over the top of her gold wire-rimmed glasses, her lips pursed. I have to agree. This seems highly irregular. My apologies. Decker gives her a smarmy smile. I'm simply trying to establish motive. If Miss Chevalier was involved in a sexual relationship with the victim, it would surely add to her betrayal and anger on discovering. Yes, yes. The judge waves him on. I understand. I'll allow you to proceed, but please, be direct. Of course. Decker turns back to me, grinning, as if he's won this round. So, Miss Chevalier, let me ask, was yours and Miss Warren's relationship sexual in nature? I stare back, stone-faced. No. Not ever? He presses. But these photos we've seen. Quote. He clicks them up on display again, the shots from Halloween, and pictures of me and Elise going back all year. We're draped over each other, hugging, affectionate and close. In one, we have bikinis on, and Elise is kissing my shoulder, her arms wrapped protectively around my bare stomach. In another, we're snuggled on her couch with a blanket, wearing tiny pajama shorts and tank tops, our limbs intertwined. Decker turns back. Are you telling us these are purely platonic photos? Yes, I insist. They don't mean anything. There are photos of all of us like that, me with Chelsea, or Lamar even. Elise and Mel. I'm interested in you and the victim, Miss Chevalier. Decker interrupts again, but this time, I don't stop. You're not letting me finish. I exclaim. I can see my lawyer's face tense, but I can't let Decker keep doing this, keep flashing up pictures like they mean something, without showing the rest of them, and what it was really like. You're asking me all these questions, but you don't care what I say, you just want to show off those photos and pretend like they mean more than they do. Please calm down, Miss Chevalier. Decker looks smug, and I realize with a pang that this is what he wanted all along, for me to raise my voice, or cry out, or do anything that lets him say I've got a temper. Actually, I believe the defendant has a point. We both turn. It's Judge Von Koppel, gazing evenly at Decker. If you ask the defendant a question, please allow her to answer fully. There's another pause. Of course. Decker forces a smile, but before I can feel a small sense of victory, he rounds back on me. So you were never sexually involved with the victim? I said, no. You never kissed each other on the lips, perhaps? No. The two of you never experimented with touching, or... Objection. Sustained. Judge Von Koppel glares at Decker. You're out of line. I won't tolerate this kind of salacious speculation in my courtroom, do you understand? Her voice rings out, heavy with disapproval, and I see Decker flush.
That was a question, counselor, she continues. Do you understand? Yes. He spits the word, resentful.
Now, if I could continue. No. The judge cuts him off, and I feel a wash of gratitude. I think we've had enough of your questioning for the day. We'll take a short recess, and then I'll see you and Counselor Gates in my rooms to discuss the rules for appropriate lines of questioning. Since you so clearly need a reminder. Court adjourned. She bangs her gavel, and a ripple of fervent conversation spreads through the courtroom, lawyers and consultants and reporters all murmuring excitedly, but they're a blur to me. I exhale slowly in relief, not moving from the witness seat. Are you all right, Miss Chevalier? Anna? I look up. It's the judge, leaning toward me, her brow furrowed with concern. I said, are you feeling all right? Yes. I reply, shocked. It's the first time she's spoken to me like a human being for weeks. All during the trial, she's talked across me, to the lawyers, as if I don't even exist, and the few times she has looked in my direction, it's to press me to answer, or to tell me to be more precise. I'm okay, I tell her, recovering.
Thank you. She nods briskly. We'll continue your testimony in the morning. The guard approaches to lead me back to the holding room, but even as he snaps the handcuffs back around my wrists, I let myself feel the victory, the smallest triumph in weeks of wretched defeat.
I won this round. Decker went too far. Then I look across the courtroom, and my brief joy fades. Elise's mom is staring at me from her usual seat behind Decker's table. The hatred in her eyes takes my breath away. I stop, holding her gaze for as long as I can. Pleading. But the guard hustles me on, not stopping, and Elise's mom turns away. Waiting. The days pass slowly in prison, a repeating parade of early morning wake-up calls, bland meals on plastic trays, and those few precious hours out in the exercise yard, pacing under the endless blue skies. I feel every moment of it at first, trapped and claustrophobic, like the cell walls are closing in on me, about to smother and crush me for good. I find it hard to sleep, or eat, and every time I hear footsteps approaching, I can't stop my heart from leaping, a fierce flutter of hope in my chest. They've come for me. I can go home. It's all over. But it never is. In the end, I can't take the heartbreak of disappointment anymore, I decide. Nobody's coming to save me. Although Dad tells me to stay positive, and keep hope alive, I know the truth he can't bring himself to tell me yet. There will be no late breakthrough miracle, no last-minute reprieve. I'm going to stand trial for Elise's murder, and now there's nothing I can do but wait. In a way, it's easier once I let go of that daydream. I'm not suspended in hopeful limbo, waking up every day rich with the possibility of freedom, and the hollow weight of disappointment when the lights out buzzer goes off, and the cell doors slam shut again each night.
I have the trial to hold on to now, my light on the horizon. When we're in court, when we can shut down whatever evidence Decker thinks he has, the blood smears, and the knife, and the necklace, then this will all be over. I'll be found innocent.
I can go home. Until then, I just have to stay strong, and wait. So the days pass. 100. 116. 147. Mostly, I remember, lying on the narrow bunk in my cell, letting the time drift by as I sink beneath the cool surface of the past. I start at the beginning, the day I met Elise in gym class, and slowly work forward, through school and Tate and the arrival of Chelsea and the others.
I play out every conversation, every kiss, like a scene from the movie of somebody else's life. Except I feel it. Hard, and sharp, and slicing with the deep ache of nostalgia, a longing for the time that's gone now and I'll never get back. All the brief moments I took for granted, the afternoons spent slouched, bored, doodling song lyrics in her notebook in the back of history class, the coffee breaks we spent hunched over mocha whip lattes at Luna, and idle free periods window shopping on Newberry Street. Elise and I, arms linked, limbs intertwined. Dyed streaks in our hair, matching pendants at our necks.
Laughter in our souls.
I look for reasons, and answers, for hints and warning signs. I take our final moments on the island apart and spread them flat, like a prospector hunting for the glint of gold in the murky dust of the riverbed. Sometimes, I think I see something. A glance, a worried note in her voice.
A hug that lingers too long, the buzz of a text message she doesn't check. But the vision blurs, details mix. Memory and imagination are only a knife edge apart, and I wonder if I'm making it all up, slipping false memories in among the real ones, just to have something to hold on to. Fool's gold. They argue over trial dates. The days pass, and I wait. Vacation. I wake in Tate's arms, sunlight falling through the open drapes to where we lie, tangled in the crisp white sheets. It's our third day in Aruba, the window is open, and I can hear the distant crash of the ocean and feel the gentle breeze on my skin. Bliss. I yawn, rolling to snuggle against him, cheek against his bare chest. He's a restless sleeper, and the covers are kicked to the floor, his limbs sprawled as if he finally gave up an epic battle and fell into unconsciousness, exhausted. I smile, tracing the line of his jaw down to his collarbone and ribs. Tate murmurs, still half asleep, a faint smile on his lips. I kiss him, my mouth replacing the slow sleep of my fingertips, along the ridge of sinew and bone, down to the taut muscles of his stomach. I feel him laugh against my mouth, awake now. He pulls me back up, kissing me hard as he rolls over and crushes me in his embrace. I stay there a moment, kissing back slowly, savoring the weight of him. Then the kiss deepens, his hands reaching impatiently for the flesh of my thighs, easing them apart. I feel him harden against me. Hold that thought, I say, and tear myself away. He lets out a groan of frustration. I need the bathroom. I'll be right back, I promise, kissing him again. No, it's good. I've got to go for a run. Tate hauls himself out of bed, naked save for a pair of blue boxers. He peels them off, exchanging them for some crazy printboard shorts.
Me and Lamar need to stay in shape for the season. I pause, admiring the view. You would think I'd get used to it, but I don't. His body, the grace he moves with. Mine.
Okay, I'll see you after. I head across the room, picking my way over discarded clothes and the junk spilling from our suitcases. I think it's another beach day. AK said something about renting some jet skis. ... Quote. Awesome. Tate laces up his sneakers, then goes to open the balcony doors. Laters. He jogs down the steps onto the beach below.
I move to the balcony and watch him as he stretches, his arms held high, then he takes off, his feet pounding the sand as he finds his usual rhythm, heading down to where the water laps against the shore. Soon he's a tiny figure in the distance, a dark shadow on the white sand of the bay. I shower and pull a bikini on, then wander out into the main house.
It's early, and the living area is deserted. Everyone is still crashed out from the night before. We spent the day on the beach, then wound up drinking at the house until late while Mel and Elise bickered over where to get dinner, until finally the boys revolted and dragged us all out for pizza at a tacky chain restaurant in one of the hotel complexes. They served 2-for-1 margaritas, lurid in huge glasses as big as serving bowls, and ice cream sundaes smothered in hot fudge sauce and cream. We were all queasy and groaning by the time we made it back, except Elise, of course. She was dancing, alone in the living room, long after the rest of us stumbled off to bed, lit by the eerie blue of the fish tank, swaying and dreamy. I go to the fridge, and pull out a carton of juice. Morning, sweetheart.
I jump, slamming the refrigerator shut. Nicholas is just a few feet away, lounging against one of the cabinets. Jesus. I catch my breath, my heart pounding. You scared me. Sorry.
He looks amused, his eyes trailing me from head to toe. Guess you weren't expecting company. I shift, uncomfortable. I'm in just my bikini top and some cutoff shorts. Beach clothes, fine for hanging out with my friends, or even strolling outside. But here, alone in the kitchen with some strange older guy, I'm painfully aware of the thin fabric and bare flesh on show. I catch Nicholas's gaze again, ice blue and smug, and resist the urge to go pull a sweater on. Somehow I think it would give him too much satisfaction. It's early, I say briskly instead, turning back to the juice. I didn't know you were here. I reach for a glass from the rack above the sink, but Nicholas steps in first, his body pressing against mine as he fetches one down for me. I flinch back. Voila. He offers it with a bland smile, but I can tell he's enjoying my discomfort. Thanks, I reply shortly. I pour my drink and then circle around to the breakfast bar, putting a length of polished marble between us. Where's Elise? I didn't think she was up. She's not. Nicholas shrugs. I wait, but he doesn't continue. Instead, he gulps juice straight from the carton, still watching me with that amused look. I shiver, despite the balmy temperature. Tate was right. He is creepy. Morning, my darlings. Elise bounds in, dressed in her red bikini and tiny white cutoff shorts. She encircles me in a hug, and cold water drips down onto my skin, her hair still wet from the shower. She kisses my shoulder. Do you see the ocean? Fuck, I never want to leave. Sure, drop out and move here, I say, and laugh, relaxing at her presence. Become a professional beach bum. Your parents would love that. Don't tempt me. Elise hops up to sit on the counter, swinging her legs against the cabinet doors. I'll send them a postcard. Wish you weren't here. She plucks a couple of grapes from the bunch in the fruit bowl and eats, still sitting with her back to Nicholas. I look over at him, realizing for the first time that Elise hasn't spoken to him. Hasn't so much as glanced in his direction. Nicholas must realize it too. His expression darkens for a moment, then the frown is wiped away, replaced with that same bland, smug smile. I'm out of here. Text you later? Elise shrugs. Sure, whatever. Nicholas salutes at me, and then saunters toward the front door. A moment later, I hear it slam. I give Elise an expectant look. She grins. Keep 'em mean. ... Quote. I know, but that was pretty icy. She shrugs again. He's kind of full of himself. Going on and on about all his dad's business deals, and how they own, like, half the island. Still, the boy has his uses. ... Quote. Her lips slip into a mischievous smile, and I can't help but laugh. What time did he come over? I ask, going to rinse my glass. They have a maid come here every afternoon, but I still feel bad leaving anything for her to clean up. I didn't hear him come in. I had him sneak in round back last night, Elise replies, sliding down to the ground. He had to climb up to my balcony. "Oh Romeo, Romeo," I quote, holding a hand to my forehead in a fake swoon. She laughs. "You're lucky he didn't fall and crack his head open," I add. Elise makes a dismissive noise. "It's barely 15 feet, anyone could climb that. Besides, you've got to make them work for it, otherwise they think you're easy." "You, the great Elise Warren, easy?" I tease. "Never. That's me." She dances around the kitchen, throwing wannabe gang signs, mock tough. "Rock hard, baby." "Like your abs?" I laugh, lightly hitting her stomach. "Like diamonds, baby." There's a groan. AK comes stumbling in, wearing last night's crumpled t-shirt and a pained expression. Noise. Pain. Dead. "What's that?" Elise calls, extra loud. "I don't know." I yell back. "I couldn't hear." AK glares. "I hate you both," he says, falling face first onto the couch. "Ah, don't be like that," Elise coos. "We're sorry," I agree. "Want me to make you some coffee?" There's a groan. "I think that's a yes," Elise laughs. She turns back to me, then her eyes widen. "You found my necklace." "What?" My hand goes to my throat. "This one's mine." "No." Elise reaches around my neck to unfasten it. "I have that chip in the metal, remember? Right here." She shows me the crack through the bronze before fastening it around her own throat. "I thought I lost it back in Boston." "Cheap piece of crap." She grins affectionately. "It's going to give us a rash or something one day." Before I can reply, Lamar interrupts us, strolling into the room with his shades on and a beach towel slung over his shoulder. "What are you guys still doing inside?" "We've got a schedule, people." "Relaxing." "Drinking." "Lying in the sun." Elise laughs, spinning away from me. 2 minutes. She promises. "I've got to grab my beach stuff, then I'm going to relax so freaking hard." She dances away, back toward her room, and I'm left there, my fingers digging into the back of the couch, my breath coming slow. "What's up with you?" Lamar's voice snaps me back. I turn. Nothing. Nothing at all. Images. Trial. "Miss Chevalier, can you tell us what we're looking at up on screen, please?" I barely turn to look. I've been on the stand for hours now, answering his questions, trying to stay calm, and not snap or sound sullen, but it's hard when I've had only a few hours of sleep all week. They took me off the sleeping pills, saying it made me look too robotic and detached on the witness stand, but now all I can do each night is stare at the cracked ceiling of my tiny cell and wait for the peace that never comes. "Miss Chevalier?" Decker prompts, and I realize I've zoned out again. "It's a map of the beach house," I tell him, tired. "That's right," Decker agrees. "And can you tell us which room you were sleeping in?" "The one you've marked in black." "The one by the front door," Decker continues. He's got an iPad and a pointer to move around on the screen. "And the victim, Elise, her bedroom was back here, to the rear of the house. Her room, of course, is marked in red. We can see from the diagram, it's barely 10 feet from your bedroom door to the main entrance to the house. So it's a fair assumption," Decker continues, that if anyone were to enter or exit in order to get to Elise's room, they would have to go past yours, which, as you stated on several occasions, you were occupying the afternoon she died, between 6 and 7 p.m. No.
Decker stops. You weren't in the house at that time. No, I mean, we were. Me and Tate, I clarified, trying not to trip over my words. But the front door wasn't the only way in. But if a stranger broke in to attack Miss Warren, as you claim, then he would have had to have passed your bedroom to get there. Objection. My lawyer sighs. The time of death has not been determined. The attack could have been carried out before the defendant returned to the house, or when she was out at dinner.
Sustained. Decker hides a scowl. I'll rephrase, he says. If a stranger broke in while you were in the house, he would have gone directly past your room, isn't that true? No, I say again, there were other ways into the house. I turn to the judge. Can I show, on the screen, ... quote. Surely this is something for the defense cross-examination. Decker tries to talk over me, but the judge interrupts him. You brought up the floor plan, so I'll allow it. There's a moment's pause, then Decker reluctantly hands over the iPad and pointer. The front door wasn't the main way in, I explain, marking the other exits on the map. We mostly went in and out via the deck, here, at the back of the house.
The whole back wall opened up, like sliding doors, and they were unlocked most of the time. We were coming and going, it was too much hassle for everyone to deal with a key. Elise had a balcony of her own, with doors out over the beach.
Her balcony was several stories off the sand. Decker interrupts me quickly. One floor, not very high, I insist. About 15, 20 feet, with easy footholds in the wood beams. Nicholas climbed up, just the night before, and Max got in there when we couldn't open Elise's bedroom. Anyone could have climbed up from the beach, and it's set back, so not many people would see. Anything else?
Decker's tone is dangerously polite. Any secret passages, or hidden exits? Objection. Sustained. Judge Von Koppel sighs. The prosecution should refrain from sarcasm. Anything else to add to the floor plan, Miss Chevalier? Just, our bedroom was across the house from Elise's. We had music on, and I swallow. If someone had been in there, we wouldn't have heard.
We didn't hear anything. My voice breaks, and my lawyer leaps up. We ask to adjourn for the day, Your Honor. He says quickly. The defendant is clearly emotional, no doubt suffering due to the prosecution's incessant badgering. Oh, come on. Decker interrupts. This is a blatant attempt for sympathy. She's fine. They all turn to look at me, the judge peering down with her usual inscrutable gaze. I stare back at her, pleading.
All day, it's been nothing but the knife prints and the blood smears and the precise recreation of our footprints in that hallway. Until now I can hardly remember what I've said, and what Decker has been drumming away at us. I'd prefer to avoid any further delay, she announces, and my heart falls.
Mr. Decker, you may continue your questioning, but keep it brief. He turns on me with a grin. So, back to the floor plan. You claim you never heard anyone enter the house. Not through the front door, I correct him. But like I said, you could climb up the balcony directly to Elise's room. Nicholas did it, maybe more than once. Decker scowls.
As we've already established, Nicholas Van Oden was at home with his father on the afternoon of the murder. But if he climbed up, somebody else could have done the same. I can't keep the note of desperation from my voice. Somebody.
Decker repeats, mocking. Does that seem likely to you, Miss Chevalier? That a random stranger would decide to climb up the side of the house, in full view of the beach, not knowing if anyone is home? And then, when they find Miss Warren there, instead of fleeing, or simply knocking her down, they take the knife from the kitchen, and stab her 13 times? I look down. That was a question, Miss Chevalier. Decker's voice booms out.
Is that a likely scenario? Does it sound at all plausible to you? It's possible, I say through gritted teeth. Elise could have had the knife in her room.
The window was smashed. It was a break-in. You claim it was a break-in. Decker corrects. Evidence for which is murky at best. And as for your intruder theory, isn't it far more likely that Miss Warren's attacker knew her? No, I insist. Knew, in fact, that she would be alone in the house that afternoon. Decker ignores my reply. And that this attacker could come and go in broad daylight, without raising suspicion. That her attacker had keys to the house and knew the alarm codes. No. My voice is shrill. He's making it sound simple, too simple, and I can tell from the expressions in the courtroom that they agree. Isn't it more likely that her attacker harbored a jealous rage? Decker is relentless. And was angry at the victim? Angry enough to stab her 13 times and leave her there, bleeding to death on the bedroom floor. Objection. My lawyer finally cries out. The prosecutor is testifying. Sustained. That's fine. Decker grins at me again, cruel and triumphant. I have no further questions for the witness at present. Would you care to cross? Von Koppel asks my lawyer, but he must be able to tell, I'm beyond helping right now. No, Your Honor, he sighs. Nothing further. As I step down from the witness seat, I see my dad seated in the front row. He meets my eyes and quickly sends me a wave and a smile, but I catch the look on his face just before he manages to mask it, worried and bleak. The hopeless exhaustion in his gaze is how I feel after my day on the stand, but somehow, seeing it reflected back at me drives the chilling truth home. My legs waver, and a wash of dizziness passes over me as I realize the truth. We're losing this.